Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, One Piece chapter 992 is out. If you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. Oda is absolutely trolling power scalers at this point. So this is going to be a pretty easy chapter to break down, I think, just because it was so focused on the action that was the meat of the chapter. And so I understand that a lot of people are going to spend most of their time discussing this action. Kinemon and the Scabbards versus Kaido, totally justified obviously, but for me, I think that I enjoyed the beginning of this chapter just as much. I don't know exactly what it is that felt so hype about it. I guess the respect between Marco and Big Mom, how they spoke to each other, how the alliance was so casually broken, and just how intriguing all this is to me. So I don't know exactly where to start, so let's just jump right into it. This chapter attempts to make you believe that Perospero won't betray or disobey Big Mom. That was kind of, like the talking point before all this. Perospero wants to defeat Kaido and fight with King. It seemed telegraphed that he was fighting alongside Marco, which substantiated this further. And the only question we really had up to this point was whether or not Big Mom intended to betray Kaido during the Fire Festival, and if that wasn't true, would Perospero listen to her? And it seems like this chapter cleans up a lot of that conversation. So now we know the Big Mom and Kaido alliance, as of this exact second, is legit. I've been saying this for months now. Oda has us questioning alliances. The easy one to question obviously was Big Mom and Kaido, and I said Oda was gonna pull the carpet out from under us on this one. Guys, Big Mom of course will eventually betray Kaido, as it's likely Kaido intends to eventually betray her. But in the here and now, where we are at this exact second, the alliance is real. They both, it appears, want to use each other. Breaking it down to the simplest terms possible, what all this means is the Straw Hats are screwed. They are not in a very good position. I think that a lot of people had built up this expectation that maybe the Kaido and Big Mom alliance wasn't legit. Big Mom intended to betray Kaido, and then the Straw Hats could use this to their advantage to survive, or, something there grants them opportunity. But no, the alliance is real. Right now. This isn't necessarily related to this chapter, but I want to say it again. Oda has a goal in mind with all of the continued emphasis on pirate betrayals. Even after this emphasis, even after Kanjuro and Denjiro switch sides. Typically, I find the way that Oda works is he does the opposite of what it seems like is most intuitive. Big Mom betrays the Vinsmoke at the tea party, so of course the fans think, of course she'll betray Kaido. Oda slides in and says, yeah, not yet. Subverting expectations in a way which makes sense in the story. Neither Big Mom nor Kaido seem to put a lot of faith or trust in alliances. They're kind of the same in this way, and they both put this aside for immediate gain with the intention of keeping an eye on their backside. So we currently think that the Luffy and Law alliance is absolutely unbreakable. Well, Oda's typical move here doesn't bode well. I'm just saying. I said this several months ago. When it comes to the major alliances left, at the time that Oda re-emphasized this concept, Oda was going the opposite direction of what seemed most intuitive at that moment. So the Big Mom and Kaido alliance in this arc is legit, and some of these other alliances that look legit may not be. The only way I really see Oda reversing course here is if he devotes a lot of energy to making us question the Law and Luffy alliance, and then Law surprises everybody by being loyal. Either way, the question of Law's long-term stance with these Straw Hats is at least something Oda has been subtly working on in the background of Wano, and is still important. Kaido tells us that when the going gets rough, that's when you really see just how legitimate these alliances are, or how not legitimate they are. There's going to be some huge payoff, one way or the other. And I really do kind of expect Oda to eventually make this turn where the whole point really is that the way that Luffy approaches alliance, different from how Kaido and Big Mom are going about it with one eye on their backside, is going to be what separates Luffy's alliances from everybody else's. Luffy's mentality creates loyalty, even as he may be naive for being so trusting. Kinda just like how he accepted Drake. And everybody was like, oh wait, hold on a second Luffy, we best not be doing that. So then this being established, we should expect some things over the course of the next several chapters, next dozen or so chapters, which might make you think that Law might betray Luffy. But then it won't happen. But anyway, it's now confirmed that the Big Mom and Kaido alliance is temporarily legit, and so we question what Parasparrow would do, and in this chapter, he sort of proves his loyalty. I want you guys to let me know if I'm off base, but there was a panel of Parasparrow after this conversation with his face in shadow, and he says, ... Well, I'm glad to hear that. You guys gotta be thinking what I'm thinking, right? Did Parasparrow actually mean what he said to Big Mom? Is he secretly mad at Big Mom? Remember, his wording earlier in the arc was, I don't care what Big Mom says, I'm gonna fight Kaido. And then here, he acts like he cares what Big Mom says, which is an obvious contradiction. And the whole shadow panel doesn't sit well with me. This all seems like trademark Oda foreshadowing if you ask me. I mean guys, we were just talking about pirate betrayals. Oda does the exact opposite of what you think he's doing. So I'm still curious about this. I don't think Parasparrow betraying Big Mom is debunked by this chapter. In fact, I kind of only feel emboldened about it. As you guys know, I do think that Big Mom rages at some point in this arc, which sort of is the twist that helps, where Big Mom helps the Straw Hats, but not necessarily intentionally. During that time, maybe Parasparrow takes an opportunity that he wouldn't right now. Because again, guys, if you're asking me, Parasparrow might be done with Big Mom as captain of the Big Mom Pirates, which is also something he kind of said earlier in this arc. Anyway, guys, I just love Marco and Big Mom here in this scene. This chapter kind of alludes to how I see Big Mom. She has her own sense of honor, her own brand of respect. She's honestly curious why the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates would side with Straw Hat Luffy, and Marco says it's because that's what he wants to do as a free man. But as soon as he says this, Big Mom was like, I see, dead men tell no tales. Fine, do as you wish. And the panel of her was just frightening as hell. I seriously wonder what Big Mom thinks of this. Does she really expect pirates to be loyal to, their former dead captains? I would not be surprised if that was true. Like if her family joined someone else after she died, I don't think that she would expect that. It might be a way in which Big Mom is looking down on the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. Which honestly is kind of ironic, as we are speculating that her child might betray her while she is alive. And this might also at the same time reinforce how Big Mom sees crew members betraying their captains. Not kindly, even after they have died. Which then adds another layer of intrigue because Big Mom was formerly a member of Rocks, so I don't know how that fits together. I also think that this whole conversation suggests and hints at just how much respect she had for Whitebeard. I don't really think that Big Mom emanated any insane bloodlust for Marco before asking him this question, and if you ask me, probably because to her the Whitebeard pirates were never bad guys worth killing. Keep in mind that she did know Whitebeard presumably really well because they were both on the Rocks pirates. But yeah, either way guys, this whole scene was really eerie and interesting to me. I really loved it. Marco is just insanely cool. We finish here with Carrot making a beeline for Parasparrow, a matchup many people expected and wanted. And I'm honestly really excited for them to talk about Pedro. I kind of expect that. I'm curious if this ends up being a final battle sort of deal between Carrot and Parasparrow or a skirmish. Obviously we'll see. But I still see Parasparrow having really significant plot role for later on in this arc. So we got a little bit of Black Maria in this chapter. I'm glad Oda's finally giving her some time like he's done for the other members of the Flying Six. I think it's a little overdue. I suppose Oda hinted that Shinobu and Yamato would fight Black Maria. That's kind of what I got out of this chapter. As he pans to her singing, he also pans to them, so that I connect these things. I do find it really interesting that while everybody else was fighting, Black Maria went into essentially hiding. I just think that this sets up so nicely as Black Maria being someone who could be represented as a spider as we originally speculated, like Black Maria and Black Widow. At least personality-wise. Like right now she's in her lair. Kind of like Shelob from the spider from Lord of the Rings. Frodo, in this case maybe Yamato and Shinobu, are going to accidentally find her lair and it's not going to be a good time. Of course, I don't think that she will actually be a spider like a spider zone, unless her devil fruit is some kind of ancient spider, I guess. But it seems so overwhelmingly likely at this point that all of the Flying Six are dinosaurs, so that would make Black Maria a dinosaur as well. But I just cannot shake the spider vibes, and honestly, I hope. Like, what kind of dinosaur is she really going to be? How cool would it be to be like Jiraiya Gumo, or I know I said that wrong, but you know, like a spider from Japanese lore, that kind of devil fruit. That would be so on point. Still, I just find it different that Black Maria isn't in this battle and went into some sort of back room to hide. The music also has a really weird vibe to it. You wonder if it could be related to her powers, enchantment. You know, I'm just gonna shelve this thought for later. But that's just my general impression reading. But yeah, we all want to talk about the Scabbards versus Kaido. I'm sure I'll see it a million times in the comment section. The power scaling is way off. The Scabbards shouldn't be this strong. Well, Kaido agrees with you. The Beast Pirates agree with you. You have been acknowledged, power scalers. All of this is absolutely, completely, totally unexpected. Oda has heard your pleas and addressed it in the story itself. He is essentially saying yes, the power scaling is broken. Are you happy? Seriously guys, I mean it when I say it. Oda is straight up saying the very same thing that you're saying, which means it's probably intentional. I think that Oda knows what he's doing. He's got a reason why these Scabbards are this strong, and soon enough I think that it will be explained to us if we are patient. And I think that a little bit of the explanation might be sort of hidden within this chapter. This is what it says: their sword skills are nothing like Odin, so why have I been cut? We then find out Odin tried to teach them his sword skills, but the Scabbards refused to listen. For them it was a competition to see who would become the strongest vassal. And at the end of the chapter we see 4 of them imitating Odin's technique. A technique that they learned without him teaching it to them. Essentially guys, this chapter is intentionally making us question how these Scabbards are hurting Kaido, i.e. there is a reason they can, and that reason has to do with imitating Odin, but it has nothing to do with Odin's particular style of sword fighting. Honestly, I kinda see this as like a logic puzzle. We get some vague hints and clues, now figure it out. The Scabbards shouldn't be able to damage Kaido. They seem to be able to damage Kaido by imitating Odin. However, Odin didn't teach them any of his specific sword skills. What's the answer? The secret to understanding how Odin damaged Kaido came from observing him, but without mastering his specific sword techniques. I think that you guys should already know by now my running theory on how these Scabbards have been hurting Kaido. The theory is that they were taught or learned or are imitating the ability of Odin's sword Enma. From earlier in Wano, we learned that Enma cuts far more than is needed if you can't control it at the cost of your own vitality. Honestly guys, this theory, it fits really, really well. Still, this has nothing to do with your sword style. For instance, I expect Zoro may cut Kaido in the very same way using Enma, and also using his unique 3-sword style that none of the vassals, none of the Scabbards would have. Sword style does not matter. Yet still, it seems reasonable to have learned this ability by observing and trying to imitate Odin, as it was sort of implied at the end of the chapter. What Kaido and us readers do not understand is that this is some kind of Haki or Ryu thing. A terrifying offensive ability that is also dangerous, and all of this meshes really well with the general vibe that these Scabbards expect to die, win, or lose. And let's be real here. If Odin was teaching his sword style to his vassals, he probably wouldn't have taught them how to kill themselves. It makes more sense for them to have learned essentially Odin's ability with Enma on their own by watching him. So I'm still gonna go with this theory, and it feels like we're on the path to this reveal. This is why only Odin and the Scabbards have managed to cut Kaido, while literally no one else has. And then, as again a lot of people expect, Zoro will also be able to cut Kaido unlike anybody else because he's actually using Odin's sword Enma, which is teaching him in a very quick manner this very same technique. All of this makes a lot of sense to me. And I guess it's also probably important to mention, just for you power scalers out there, just so that, I recognize you, it seems like all of the Scabbards, or these 4 Scabbards together, are maybe equal to Prime Odin. They had to team up to do essentially the same amount of damage Odin inflicted upon Kaido 20 years before. And they even attacked the spot where Kaido might have been weaker. This mentality, though, does kind of bother me a little bit. Oh my god, Inuarashi confirmed strongest 3-sword style user. Zoro the scrub, Scabbard's Yonko level. But you don't want to hear how it could work. Oda knows what he's doing, be patient. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the power scaling or anything involved. This has honestly become not a thing about power scaling to me, it's a thing about plot. Oda has created a plot reason for the Scabbards to be able to damage Kaido. No, they're not going to defeat Kaido, but it's going to add some emotional gravity to the story that I think that we're all going to enjoy. That's my impression right now. We'll obviously see what happens. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. This was a fantastic chapter. Every part of this chapter I enjoyed. As always, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. If you noticed something that I might have missed, share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.